For whatever reason, Starjet models always seem to fly a bit under the radar, at least compared to Harper wings. But is that really justified? We'll find out right after the drop. And with that, hello and welcome to a new episode of Review, where we today will take a closer look at a Boeing 757-200 of Thomas Cook Airlines. At the front of the box we have a rendition of the aircraft model, and on top of that we have the Thomas Cook branding. Then on the back side of the box we once again find the rendition of the model, we have some specifications, and again the Thomas Cook branding. So that's it for the box. Let's take a closer look inside and at the aircraft model itself. But before we get too far into today's video, it is worth mentioning that this aircraft model does come with a stand. And here she is, the Boeing 757-200 in one of the former standard liveries of Thomas Cook Airlines. This model, like many models of the time, was developed in tandem between Schuco and Starjets. The Schuco model was produced in 2003 and this Starjet model in 2004, although they are virtually identical. So let's see what Starjets was capable of doing in 2004 and if they can give Harper a run for their money. And we start our tour around the aircraft model with a look at the tail section, where we on the vertical stabilizer have the former Thomas Cook branding. Just like Harper, Starjets also went for the approach of having an entire piece for the horizontal stabilizer just shoved into the backside of the fuselage, something I'm not a huge fan of, but I do like that they added some printed details to the horizontal stabilizer. On the fuselage we then have the web address of the airline, the full registration code of the aircraft, and the Union Jack, and towards the very tail of the aircraft we have a bit of detailing around the APU exhaust. On top of the fuselage we don't have physical antennas, but we do have them indicated in the print, something we don't even get today with Harper wings as a standard. At the front of the aircraft and across the fuselage we then have the writing of Thomas Cook and the aircraft type specification. And we do also have a few small markings here and there across the fuselage, which looks really lovely. Just adds a little bit extra to the model. The cockpit section itself, well, has the cockpit windows and the window wipers printed on. From some angles I do think it looks a little bit strange. Perhaps the placement of the cockpit windows isn't perfect. It could also be something with the mold, but overall, since it is only from some angles that I'm a little bit in doubt, I actually think it is pretty much alright. The engine nacelles have been given the dark blue color from the Thomas Cook color scheme, and the silver leading edge has been printed on, but no other printed details can be found here, which perhaps is a little bit disappointing. The physical detailing, well, from the backside, it could be better, but it's also really not that bad, especially not for a model from that time period. And when we look into the engine from the front, we can very nicely see the engine fan blades. Then we should move on from the engines and take a look at the wings, starting off with the top side, where we can see the different flaps, slats and spoilers have been carved out, although that could be a little bit more pronounced in my opinion. However, we do have the markings as to where to walk on the wing and the emergency exit markings as well, so that's really lovely. The underside of the wings looks okay. Here we have the full registration code of the aircraft once again. The landing gear of the model is the standard landing gear Starjets used for their 757s at the time, and it doesn't just look good, it is also far superior to anything that Harper currently has on the market. An added bonus as well is that it is made entirely out of metal, so it won't go breaking on you just because you look at it. And then last but not least, we do also have the doors to the cargo compartments printed on here in the backside, and notice it's not just a square printed on, but there are actually some additional details there. And also here at the front of the aircraft. So there we have it, the Boeing 757-200 in a former standard livery of Thomas Cook Airlines from Starjets in 1 to 500. And what can we say about this aircraft model? Despite its age, after all, it is from 2004, it is still an excellent model and it can very easily compete with anything we currently have on the market. Yes, there are a few places where it does show its age. For example, how the horizontal stabilizer has been mounted or how the wings have been mounted. That does look nicer in more recent releases from Harper, for example. But all the other parts can compete with or do beat the current standard of Harper wings. So honestly speaking, I don't think it is right that Starjet's models still to this day fly under the radar compared to Harper, because they are clearly superior. So it is really a shame that Starjets doesn't produce models anymore. But do you have an alternative to this aircraft model? Well, I mean, if you want to have the 757 of Thomas Cook in this livery, the only alternative would be the schuco model from 2003. However, this will be, as I mentioned, be identical to the model we have here, because schuco and starjets were producing in tandem. Still, if you like to collect aircraft models from the beginning of the 2000s, or at least airliners with liveries from the beginning of the 2000s, then you can't really go wrong with this one, and this is why I would say yes, absolutely. I would recommend this aircraft model for one's collection. Now, with that, we have reached the end of today's episode. If you have enjoyed this video, then don't forget to leave a like, that would be very much appreciated, and of course, if you are new around here, why not hit subscribe, that would be absolutely awesome. With that, I'd like to say thank you very much for watching, hope to see you soon again. I'm checking out, and bye.